Welcome to Built Between the Lines, where we'll explore discipline, faith, leadership, resilience, the unseen work that forges unshakable character. I am Ben Perrin, and I have with me today Gage Stump.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Better than yesterday.
Better than yesterday?
Yeah, so that's always good.
What happened yesterday?
It's a long story, won't get into it. But a listing agent made me mad, and I was pretty mad by 10 a.m. So,
All right, we'll pause right there. Gage is a realtor, real estate agent professional. Yes, I am in title, Company Avenue to close. So that's how we have met one another.
correct.
Right. So for those of you who aren't privy to the real estate industry, that's all I'm going to say. So it's one of those worlds where, it's not for the faint of heart, so to speak. So, but we're good now though.
Yeah.
After this. So 10 a.m.
Yeah, well, that's
got
good.
you off the...
I was mad for maybe 30 minutes, and then I tend to not dwell on things. I got up, took a walk, came back to my computer, and on to the next thing. So
I like that. Pulled yourself out of that for just a second.
yeah.
Yeah, because you can get sucked down real fast.
I learned working in corporate America not to let your emotion take you over and then reply with that, because then it just gets you in more trouble. So
Okay, so you're an agent now. You just brought up corporate world. Take us back a little bit here, because right now, I mean, I'm going to say you're up and coming rising star in the real estate industry. I can see that. I've been with you long enough to know. Right, I can attest to that.
I appreciate
So
that.
let's take you back to where you got to this point in time to say, I think I'm going to be a real estate agent.
Well, depends on how far back you want to go. I think most realtors could always say that they started thinking about it whenever they were watching HGTV before they were licensed. Fix or flip or whatever the heck it's called. Property Brothers. I always thought it was interesting. That was probably in high school, which would be 2013 to 2017. But I did not immediately follow that path.
Because you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Right? You're supposed to graduate high school, go to college, get a nice job somewhere.
Yeah,
work and retire and die.
Yeah,
probably right. Is that like the societal umbrella? I think
I would agree with that. Work your 9 to 5, push paper for the big man.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't sit well with me. I did it different. Well, I would say a lot of people could relate with this. I graduated high school. Thought I was going to college. I was in band, marching band and concert band. And
what instrument?
Saxophone, alto saxophone for concert band, and then I also played in jazz band. I played tenor.
Yeah, you are a great musician. I've heard the piano.
Thank you.
So, but anyway, let's not digress.
I graduated high school. Thought I was going to go to college to be a music education major. I think I didn't even make it to move-in week. I think the week before move-in week, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not feeling it. My parents were pretty happy about that. So then my mom was like, well, you got to do something with your life. So I stayed in my hometown in West Virginia for about a year. When I graduated high school, I had my high school degree, and I also had an EMT certification for the state of West Virginia that I did my senior year. Because in high school, I volunteered for our local rescue squad. And where I grew up, Romney, West Virginia, there wasn't a paid service at the time. So I did what any 18-year-old would do that only had an EMT certificate. Was I moved to Morgantown, West Virginia. Go Mountaineers. And I worked there as a paid EMT. And then fast forward, got out of that, moved to Pittsburgh, worked in the hospital in the ER here for a little bit at Mercy. And it was always in the back of my mind to get my real estate license. I don't know why, but ever since I was watching HGTV when I was in high school. So I had a tonsillectomy in 2021. I was off work for 30 days and decided in that 30 days I was not going to go back to work and I was going to have a license, and I did it.
I love it. I love it. I mean, part of wanting to do this and, get the word out, for people who, struggle with one thing or another, whether that's mindset, whether that's blaming, the situation that they're in. I think part of doing this is just to let people know, like, hey, whatever you have that you desire, that you want, right, is already right there. It's what you do, within certain, within certain lines,
Yeah.
right, that forged to that point in time. So you had a why. You had a why.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to figure out, I think that might have been Viktor Frankl who said that, right? If it's something, and I'm probably going to mess it up, but your why is bigger than your how, something along those lines, right? Or you get your why, you'll figure out the how, right?
Yeah. I agree with that. I've always been told that if I want something, I'm going to get it. And that's definitely what happened. I ultimately I didn't leave corporate world immediately either when I got my license. So my why wasn't fulfilled at that time. So I think I had my tonsillectomy. It was like September 2nd. And I was licensed with the state officially October 1st.
Wow, that was quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. You drove out to Harrisburg and picked up your license, or did you wait for that to come back?
I waited for it.
Yeah.
But I officially was on record as a
Right.
licensed real estate agent in the state of Pennsylvania. October 1st was whenever my license was activated. But like any new realtor, they think they're going to be a millionaire and it's going to be easy. And I quit my job at UPMC and was like, I'm going to do this full time. It's going to be easy. I'm going to make a lot of money. And then I realized I'm not from Pittsburgh. I don't know anybody here. And it's very much who you know in real estate to have a sphere.
Mm-hmm.
So I was calling, grinding my wheels. Nothing was happening. So then I found myself back in the seat of a 9-to-5 corporate world. But in
Loving it, right?
At first, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I did that for 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in property management. I started here with a local property management company, learned the ropes as a leasing assistant. Worked there for 6 months, and then I got hired for a larger property management company that's based out of Florida. I was an assistant market manager there, and then that's when I really learned the corporate world. Did really well, accelerated fast, got promoted to be level with my boss. So we were co-market managers at the time. We worked well together and did that for long enough. And then you worked in corporate world. So
I did for a short period of time. Yes.
You're doing really well. Here's another task.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have all these hats to wear, but no raise or anything that comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally argued and negotiated to get a raise. But whenever I got that raise, they were like, okay, here's 30 more things to do. And 2024 New Year's Eve, I just had enough. And I'd been in Pittsburgh for 3 or 4 years at that time. So I knew people now, felt more comfortable.
Building the sphere.
Yeah, I built the sphere, had some savings, and I quit. And 2025 was the year I started what I'm doing now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, real estate, right? And this is an industry where, on career day, there's nobody around. Right? It's like, in high school and in college, even, it's like, well, come over here and become a real estate agent. That's not there.
No.
Right? There is no major. It's the same thing for what we do, right? Avenue to close. There's no formal education for title.
Yeah.
For settlement services, right? So you take an exam to become licensed, much like a realtor does, and it's all theory. It's all right there, finite for you. And then It doesn't teach you how to.
Doesn't actually apply to anything.
Okay, so how do I do this and actually get a listing appointment?
Right.
Nope, sorry, we're not going to go over that for you. Right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing in the title industry. Become a title agent. That's great. That's awesome. But how's it going to teach you how to clean up, liens on a title? I'm not going to do that. How's it going to get you to the closing table on time? Nope, sorry, we're not going to go over that either.
Yeah.
So you're learning by making mistakes.
Learning and doing, and hopefully you can find a good mentor.
Right.
Or a good, and my sense, a good brokerage.
Right.
A lot of brokerages will promise you the world and then just kind of throw you out there and expect them to make money for them.
Yeah. It's what's amazing to me about like our industry, coming away from like a corporate job, for instance, you can land anywhere you want in any brokerage as you're choosing, and what you find in that is, likeness begets likeness. So who you are and how you tick and how you do XYZ will land you to your spot to where you go. So you could go into somewhere and still have that corporate mindset in a lot of the brokerages,
Yeah.
And so regardless of you being an independent business owner, you're under the corporate umbrella for that. You got to do it this way. You got to do it that way. You can't do it this way, but you should also not do it this way.
Yeah.
So I think, part of that is coming back and internalizing for you. Where am I going to best work? Where's the spot where I'm going to land that's going to allow me to be the best of me? So you're going to search that during your time as well too. You being in the game for as long as you have, right? You grew up really quickly, right? Really, really fast. So you now have gone from that independent agent to having a team.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that a little bit. How's that going?
Yeah, it's going really well. If you would have asked me January 2025, when I was trying to figure out where I was going to get my first deal at, if I was going to have a real estate team and be a co-branch manager of an office, I would have been like, you're crazy.
Right.
But it happened. Kind of just the universe. I think everything just kind of aligned. But yeah, I'm with the XP, and I co-own a real estate team with my business partner, and we have 4 agents under us right now. The team will turn 1 June 27th of this year.
You can talk about that. You can talk about partner, and go ahead, get it out there. So let's put it out there.
What part?
For Elaine and your group, yeah, you got a team.
I just didn't know how much I was allowed to name drop.
You can go as much as you want. Yeah, we're not going to put any handcuffs on anything here.
Okay, yeah, then you can just take it out.
Sorry.
No. Yeah. So, I own a real estate team with my partner, Elaine Yara-Bennett's. Kind of funny how that happened. So the team will be a year old, June 27th of this year. We weren't really looking to start a team together. I didn't even know Elaine until probably we first talked in January of 2025, but that wasn't the most inviting experience. I don't know if you heard the story, but
I didn't hear the story. You don't have to share that now, though.
Oh no, it's actually really funny.
All right, let's go then.
It's really funny how we met. So I'm not from Murraysville, which is where we're at. That's our main market. That's where our office is. That's where our team is based out of. But my husband and I moved from Robinson to Murraysville because he's from Murraysville, and we moved into this neighborhood called Murray Woods. And again, real estate, it's all about who you know, getting your name out there, sphere, stuff like that. Thought I might have a little bit of an in because my husband went to Franklin Regional and he knows a lot of people. So I started posting on social media, and I joined the local Facebook groups, and I just put in my name out there, and at the time, I didn't know Elaine, but Elaine was seeing all of these posts, and she's like, "Oh, great, another young agent trying to break into the Murraysville market." Because the Murraysville market's it's a good market. Everybody
Absolutely.
wants the Murraysville market. But she was like, "Here's another young EXP agent trying to break into the Murraysville market. He's gonna come and go.
It's mine. This is
like
my
she's like, this is my territory.
Yes,
She's been
exactly.
here for 25 years. She's been licensed for, I think should it be 12 this year, 12 years. So she didn't pay any mind to me. She was just like, whatever. But then 24 hours later, she got an email for an invitation for a Facebook group for Murray Woods neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And she looked at it and she said, "Oh shit, this kid is my neighbor."
Yeah.
Turns out our backyards pretty much touch.
Yeah.
And I knew she was an EXP agent. And whenever I was looking at our neighborhood directory, when you move into our neighborhood, one of the original owners, she keeps up a neighborhood directory.
Mm-hmm.
So I already knew Elaine's name from being a local agent, but then I saw that she lives right behind me. So I knew going into this before she did. And she emailed me that night that I sent her the Facebook invitation group, and she said, "Just so you know, we already have a Facebook group." And I emailed back and I was like, "Well, I couldn't find it." So it turns out it was a private group that wasn't searchable, all this good
Right.
stuff. But ultimately, I invited her over to my house. I was like, "Let's have a bonfire. Let's meet. Just talk. I'm new to the area, whatever." And that night, I told her what my ideas were long term and short term, that I'm going to be in Murraysville forever. I don't plan on leaving this place. So I want to take over this market. And I told her, I was like, "I'm going to start a real estate team eventually. I'm going to open up my own office. EXP isn't a brick and mortar brokerage. So if you want to open an office, you have to do it at your own cost." And I told her those were all my plans. And I was like, "We are next door neighbors. You already have the sphere, and my leverage is technology." I said, "So you can either get on the train or not."
So you were flexing muscles, both of you, back and forth a little bit there.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
both, that's the great thing about our partnership, is we both have what we're both like really good at.
Mm-hmm. You have qualities she doesn't possess, and vice versa.
Right.
Right.
And,
exactly.
so she left the bonfire that night and said she wasn't very interested in it. And she said, "I don't think that never really aligned with my business plan or anything." And then about 2 days later, she was like, "Let's talk."
Mm-hmm.
And the rest, here we are. The rest
That's
is
awesome.
history.
That's awesome. And you're coming up on a year in a few months here.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah, we for EXP, our team, what's the word I'm looking for? Not place, because it's not a competition. I mean, everything's a competition.
Mm-hmm.
But we were in the top 50 of real estate teams at EXP in the state of Pennsylvania, just in the 6 months that we were in business.
That's awesome.
So I think we placed like 42nd or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen the two of you together on that, and we'll have Elaine on. I'm interested to hear about the story, about how maybe she wants to tell it too. So I'm interested for her to give her time on this.
I will say she tells it better.
No, but so part of wanting to do this is, I think, wanting to do this built between the lines and explain how, it's not what, your character is not made by what you outwardly do, right? It's the stuff that nobody sees behind the scenes, right? So part of that is, there's certain pillars that go along with that, right? One of those is perspective. For you to tell the story back of how it went. I don't know if it does. It seemed to me like you've never really told that story before, right? Or it's in a different context at this point in time.
The Elaine story?
Yeah.
No, normally because we're always together, she's the one telling the story, because her perspective is way better than mine.
Not this young kid in here. That was gonna. Yeah. I get you. But when you bundle that all together, and we'll get to this, right? Because you mentioned that now you have a team of 4. Right, so it's you and Elaine, and then 4 more.
Yep.
So, part of you telling that story and going through the time period of your life, like, wow, wait a minute, that was a year ago almost, right? You start pulling that back in to what you had to do to get right here to this point in time, right? And then your goals and your aspirations, and what you want year 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever to look like, you're putting forth the effort to get to that point in time. But part of this in doing this is a perspective that takes place inside of that. Right. And it sounds to me, the most successful relationships that last the test of time are the ones where ego gets checked at the door. And that's really it, right? But you have to make a concerted effort to not become to not have your pride bruised, to see through that, right? And whatever it is, it doesn't matter, right? Business, life, on a team, you're running a business, in your marriage and anything else, like you have to check egos at the door, or it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying egos are bad. There's good ego. Like what drives you, that id or whatever they want to call it. It's not a bad thing.
Oh no, I love that saying. Check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
I agree with it wholeheartedly. I think egos, like you said, there's good egos, but I think a lot of times the bad outweighs the good. They tend to get in the way, and like you said earlier, it can be noise.
Yeah, noise. That's something that I'm working on, right? And I'm 48 years old, so I'm not, it's a progress. It's always a progress, But in your sense too, here having the analytical mind of that, right, and then you getting together with Elaine, who's not analytical, but maybe sees it from a different perspective than you have, and you seeing it from hers. Now you merge those two worlds together, and the possibilities are endless with that, right? So now you have a team, and now instead of you having the responsibilities for just your world, you have the responsibilities for other people's world as well too.
Right, and I think I wanted to be a music educator. I've always loved to teach, and I've always kind of landed in the leadership role, whether I looked for it or didn't.
It just found you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I love it. But I think a lot of it also has to do with I did very well in the corporate world. So well to the point that I got out of it because I couldn't handle it anymore. My mom told me when I was young, don't always give 100% at a job because then they're just going to stack more stuff on you. But I think I did so well in corporate world. The compare and contrast to me and Elaine is before we met, she didn't run her business as a business. And she'll tell you that. Mm-hmm. She lived off of referrals, and she did her 10 to 15 deals a year, and that's all she wanted to do. When we first talked at that bonfire, she said, I am going to be an empty nester. My youngest is graduating high school, and I want to ramp up my business. And I'm like, well, then let's go.
Yeah.
So the compare and contrast is I bring in a lot of the corporate stuff to the team, and we run it like a business. We have one-on-ones with all of our team members. We have a weekly huddle with our team members, but it's better than a corporate world, I think, because at the end of the day, you're an independent contractor. And right. We tell our agents that, like, we're not going to make you go and sell houses. Like,
yeah,
these are our expectations. Like, we're going to help you get there. But at the end of the day, if you want to be successful, you have to go get it. Mm-hmm. So that's how we typically operate the team.
Yeah. And nothing's handed to you.
Right.
Except for, what's he got going on in here. That's there. That's a whole other podcast for a whole other person to talk about how this impacts things. But, for you guys, it's great because, like, you brought you had the systems. She has the experience.
Exactly. And that's what I was talking about earlier, that we both bring different things to the table they work really well together.
Right. Yeah, there's a little bit of like give and take and push and pull in those situations.
Yeah.
As well too. The old dog new trick type of thing. I'm guilty of that. I know that.
Yeah.
I've always done it this way, and to be a leader is you'll hear so many different people talk about what it takes to be a great leader. I mean, I think it's the biggest quality is just listen, right? And then you have to explain to people and you on your team that although you are, you're the leaders of the team, they also own their own business too. Right. But it doesn't matter, because whether you are in the corporate world or whether you're an agent on your team, everybody has ownership of their lives.
Yeah.
And how they're going to govern themselves.
You are responsible for the outcomes that you want.
For the most part, until there's some Murphy's Law that wants to take effect. Right. Yeah. But that's another pillar of it too, right? Is, we have perspective, we can go down a few of those things as well too, but there's perseverance that goes inside of that too. Right. So, when you fall down, when you do have setbacks, how do you react to that on as a team now in your leadership? How do you drive that when there are setbacks?
Yeah, I'm a very analytical person, so I am. What went wrong? What do we have to fix? What we do differently or do better? I read something one time. I think it was It happened in World War II, but an airplane. There was a group of fighter planes that went out, and every single one of them got shot down except for one. And the one that came back, it had bullet holes scattered all through it. And the engineering team was focused on, we got to make that part stronger. And the one person was like, no, that's the strongest part. We need it. Everybody else that went down probably got shot in all the other areas. Mm-hmm. So I am very analytical when it comes to things like that. Just like what went wrong, what do we do to fix it, how do we do it better, and then we don't dwell on what happened. We just keep going. Absolutely.
The short memory, I think they call that, right?
Yeah.
The recovery time period it takes from a setback, and then another big part of that is the patience that goes along with it too. All the people on your team are not the same person to lead.
Oh, they're all different.
They're 100% different.
Every single one of them.
Right. Yeah. So how do you take in consideration of that when you're driving the team, not only for the team success but for their individual success as well too?
Yeah, and that's why we have the one-on-ones. So we have one-on-ones with each of our agents once a week, and during the recruitment process and deciding if you think it's gonna be a good fit, and if we think it's gonna be a good fit, a part of the conversation is like, what kind of leadership do you respond to? How do you learn? What's your learning style? Things like that.
You make them take a test or something?
No.
I mean, there's like personality tests out there.
Have
you ever taken one of those?
For an employer, I have.
Did
yes.
You? Which one was that one?
My first property management job.
Okay.
Took a personality test, and interestingly enough, they told me I would never be successful in real estate because I'm too analytical and really? I don't respond fast enough to questions.
You're like, challenge accepted.
I pretty much said, watch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, with our agents, we just ask them, what will help you succeed the most? Mm-hmm. How can we help you? It's not one thing fits everybody. So some of our agents, if we have a training, we have the team training, and I'll go through the document, they can read it, or there's also a recording that they can come back and watch. Mm-hmm. And if they need more, we can have a one-on-one sit down and clarify whatever they want.
So you are available.
Yeah, and that's the most
important. You make
thing.
yourself available, right? Yep.
Yeah. And Elaine and I are talking to our agents 7 a.m, 11 o'clock at night, whenever, because they're doing deals, we're doing deals.
Right.
Like their deals are our deals.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I mean, we haven't talked in a while.
Yeah. Well,
because you got a thing going, I got a thing. I mean, we're just, so it's cool to see you evolve into all of that. I think it looks awesome for you. I think it does.
Thank you. It's been a wild ride. And the thing too is like transparency. I mean, I'm young. Everybody that's you can look at me and tell that. Mm-hmm. And I think another important, just in life, important is accept the fact that you never are going to know everything. Mm-hmm. And we set that expectation with our team members. Like, you're going to ask me questions. We're not going to know all the answers.
Yeah.
So it is okay to say, I don't know. Let me find out. And I think that's a big hurdle that a lot of people don't get over.
Yeah. Yeah. Asking for help is considered a weakness.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I
think people that think it is a weakness, I think that is noise of an ego.
Yeah, and it's definitely some hint of trying to hide some insecurities.
Right.
Definitely. I mean, we can all see it when somebody walks into a room, the insecurities, right? How about we admit to that?
Yeah, I mean,
right.
Once you address the elephant in the room, it's a lot easier.
It's very difficult for people. Yeah. Because there's that thing that we like to call pride, that gets in the way of a lot of sound decision making.
Yeah, and it's noise.
It's noise. It's noise. So, all right. So we have corporate world. Let's take it back to this. Agent, team leader, 1 year almost in that. Let's dance. Let's go around perspective a little bit here. I want to hear something from you. Okay. So you're driven now. You're driven. You're flying. You're going, right? You're squared away in what is the thought process for the teams, right? How did you get to that point in time, right? The perspective of life. Do you think about that often? Where you were and where you are now?
Yeah.
I do because I'm getting a little bit older. My kids are getting a little bit older, right? My get up and go isn't getting up and getting it like it used to. It's just, it's not. I'm not 28 years old, and so I think when you slow down a little bit with that, you have time to sit in between the ears a little bit more, right? Considering where I've been, what I have done, and who has helped me along the way to get to this point in time, right? Let's go on that. Let's go on that road a little bit.
Yeah, my daily motivation is to just be successful. I'll admit it, like my biggest anxiety in life is to be a failure. Mm-hmm. And that can mean different things. So what motivates me every day is to not be a failure.
What is that? But what is that? Is that like not making money? Is that not?
Any aspect. There's plenty of aspects of it.
Yeah.
It's not all about money. My biggest motivation is I want to be able to take care of my family. And that doesn't necessarily, we don't have kids right now. I'm married. We plan to adopt one day, but I want to be able to take care of my mom and my dad and my grandparents. And if we have kids, if we don't have kids, I want to be able to take care of my nieces and nephews. Things like that. Because I grew up very well taken care of. Like my family owned a business, but unfortunately, my senior year of high school, the family business went bankrupt. So the entire life that I ever knew was gone. Mm-hmm. So, and that played into a part of why I didn't go to college. Mm-hmm. I remember my senior year of high school, my family's farm and everything was just posted for auction in the newspaper. And I thought I was going to go to college and my family was going to pay for my tuition. Everything was going to be fine. And then that happened. Everything went up for sale. And I had a guilt, I guess, of I didn't want to make my family pay for my tuition because we didn't them some more. Yeah, we didn't know where that was going to come from. Mm-hmm. And with federal aid, I fell between this crack where you have to report 2 years of your family's income. Mine looked great, so I didn't qualify for anything. And then the only types of hardships that you can apply for is if you're homeless, emancipated, or have an unsafe home, and I didn't have any of those things. So that's part of the reason I didn't go to school. And then from that point on, I moved to Morgantown, became a full-time EMT, and I remember days sitting in the McDonald's drive-thru where I couldn't rub 2 quarters together to buy a McChicken. And I think about that day pretty much every day, and that's my motivation.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Yeah, there was some lean times in my life as well too.
Yeah,
absolutely. Wondering, you're going to pay the bills or you're going to feed the kids, you know, and yeah, that resonates with me as well too, big time,
Yeah.
big time, you know, and it's one of those things to say, you know, what's next, you know, how much more
Yeah.
can somebody take, like where is this end for us, and part of wanting to do this and bringing you in and having this, you know, expand out so other people can be helped in their time period, right? Maybe they hear something from you and they say, all right, okay, that's this time period that I'm in right now, we're gonna get right through this, right? Because, you know, what you may not know is that, you know, sitting in here with somebody else, they're talking about the same thing,
Yeah.
right? So we're all held together by the things that have made us, and good or bad, most of the time there's that punch in the mouth that you get, right? And then you're going to pull yourself up and you're going to go, okay, moving on from this. Then you get another one, then you get another one. So part of wanting to do this was so that, you know, regular people, we can talk about how it's okay, right? Keep moving forward.
Yeah.
You know, the perseverance side of it as well too.
Yeah. Well, I've always said, I think the combination of my experience is the reason I am. I think that's everybody, but my time on the ambulance working 911 was very humbling.
Whew.
Just because,
Yeah.
and with that, with how I grew up very well and then lost everything. And then I worked on the ambulance and I was taking care of other people. And we see people on the worst day of their lives every day. So another motto that I've lived by is don't judge a book by its cover, but one step further is you never know what somebody else is going through.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
it could look like they have all their shit together, but I've been in wealthy people's homes where it's just as broken of a home as that you would never imagine it to be. But
Right.
then you go to someone that is barely getting by and they are very loving and they have it together more than the people that you would think would have it together.
Yeah, so that perspective socked deep into all of that,
Yeah.
right? Because everybody's going through a battle you know nothing about,
Yep.
right? So, you know, having that interpersonal connection with somebody without really even knowing them, right? I mean, that sets you up for that the juxtaposition of the stuff you think is that you're going through, and then you got this over here,
Yeah.
right? So it happens all the time to us, doesn't it? Like I hear of a tragic passing away of somebody. I'm like, oh man, that's terrible. Like, I'm so sorry that, you know, you lost your nephew or whatever. He's like, yeah, he was 48 years old. And I was like, oh, ooh, like
Yeah.
that's me.
You never know.
Like I'm that old. So, and I'm not in that bad of shape, but at any time, right?
Yeah. You never know.
You never know. So, you know, everybody goes, so, but, you know, not to slide down the hill of negativity on this, or, you know, but that experience that you had as being an EMT has made you that empathetic person on the realtor side of it, right? The people that you help to be able to buy their first home.
That's my first time home buyers are my favorite clients.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ours too. Because like they're new to the game.
They're fun and excited. Every step of the way is a win.
Mm-hmm. I remember early on back in the day, right? Let's go back. Like when I was in the title side, when I was doing the title here front back, I remember doing a closing on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And this was back when there was a HUD. So this is way before. But back then, lenders didn't have to wait the 3 days to do, right? Here's your CD. We're going to close 3 days later. That was the HUD days. So where it was like, we have clear to close at 2:00 in the afternoon. Can we close at 6?
Yeah.
Right. So you're flying. And I remember, again, early on in the business, I missed a lot of time at home. You know, my youngest is 12, going to be 13. And I missed like the first 2 years, 3 years of his life. I was there, but I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I remember one Wednesday, and it sticks with me, one Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And this loan had been in the pipeline for a long time. It was like a USDA loan, right?
So at least 60 days.
Back then it was more like 3 or 4, maybe 5 months.
Oh, wow.
Right. And we're finally rolling through all of this. It's their first home. She, husband and wife, she was pregnant. They thought they'd be in the house by the time. No, she had a baby there. And it's like, can we close this loan? I'm like, yeah, we can. I needed to get home and stuff, but I was like, okay, this is one of those things. And there's so many stories of that, but at that time, I knew my family was good. They were good. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving. Everything's going to be great. I'll be home. We closed at like 9:30 on the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. But to walk away from that table with the joy on their faces.
They'll remember that forever. Remember we closed on our first home?
I remember it forever.
Yeah.
Right. That was probably 13 years ago, or 12, about 12 years ago. So it's important, I think, as we're sitting here talking about, your unshakable character and being built between the lines and this stuff, that we take a second to pause and go, well, what built us? Right? Because if you lose for a second that essence that made you who you are, you might become something that you didn't want to be, which is a failure.
Right.
Right. And I think as time shifts, your goals and what you want to get accomplished and everything else stays on that same path. So it was fun. That was fun. Thanks. We'll go down the road of that. But that makes you empathetic towards first time home buyers, right? And you can understand that. You've seen plight.
I love working with first time home buyers, just because it's a roller coaster of emotions. Like when you first start, the first phone call, like we have no idea what's going on. We don't know anything about anything. And then that's where I get to teach. And then, like I said, every win, every small step in the process is a win. Mm-hmm. Not all clients are like that. But first time home buyers are always very grateful, and I just love working with them.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I'd like to take a little bit of ride here, just great. A little one. Okay. What separates you then from, right, your competition? Do you have competition? Do you?
I mean, I make competition with what do you mean?
Like, who's your competitor? Like, do you have a person out there who? Or is it you? Is it your?
Yeah, I would say my biggest competitor is myself.
Yeah.
Got to beat last year's numbers. Got to keep doing better. Right. I don't really have my eyes set on like one person that I compete with. I go everywhere. I do any type of deal that makes sense. I don't discriminate on price point. So I'm not heavily focused on just Murraysville, like our market. Elaine is more so Murraysville. I am anywhere else that I can help somebody. So, but yeah, my biggest competitor I would say is myself.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like I did 4.6 million volume last year and 19 deals. So I'm
you got some goals now.
I gotta beat that. Yeah.
You got some goals
25 deals. I want 25 deals and I want to do like 5.5 million. But I'm more focused on the unit side.
Right.
Because again, I have a $29,000 house under contract right now, but I also have a $1.3 million house under contract right now. So my 2026 is based off of units.
Right. Then you have the team too. So that's the team structure as well too. Like you have internal leads and then external leads, and we help with the.
Yep.
Okay.
So.
Are you having these types of conversations with them too? More than just business. Like
just last week was our 2026 business plan meeting.
Yeah.
So our team meetings are every Wednesday night. So last Wednesday we gave them the business plan, showed them how to fill it out, and really like what money do you want to net? What do you want at the closing table for 2026? And then they fill that number in, and then automatically there's a couple other numbers I have to fill in, like what's your average price point and things like that. They fill in those numbers, and then it'll populate This is how many deals that you need to do. This is how many phone calls you need to make. This is how many texts you need to send, and things like that. We did that last week. Tonight, we're inputting it into our CRM. So then they have that constant reminder every time they log in. Like, did you do your 10 phone calls today?
Right.
Stuff like that.
So there's an accountability piece that gets pulled into this as well too. I got you. That's awesome.
But that's pretty par for the course with me because I'm very much break it down.
Well, the analytics side of it, you're driven. You can see it.
Right.
You can see why it doesn't add up.
Yeah, it's math.
Right.
And
has that helped you? I mean, so, you know, part of wanting to do this as well too, and talking about, you know, the between the lines, is we figured out the purpose, right? We figured out the parameters, right? We figured out, you know, well, we haven't really discussed parameters yet.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, in my opinion of like, you know, what drives me and what gets me going is those pillars have to align for me in my life, right? In business, you know, at Avenue to Close, we have 4 pillars of the company, right? That's collaboration, education, integrity, and gratitude, right? So after all these years of trying to figure out what worked best for, you know, internally with the company, and again, I mean, you've worked with us. I feel like we have the best team that's around in this game, right? Because every single person is saying exactly the same thing all the time, right? If you're talking to me or talking to, you know, Greg or Dylan or somebody else in the organization, Jana, like we're all saying the same things,
right?
You know, so there's an alignment that takes place from, you know, top to bottom, bottom to top, and there's that constant communication, right? I want, you know, I want people to challenge me. I need to be led, right? If I'm left off on my own in my own brain, you know, we might not go anywhere, right? I'll be here, I'll be there. We'll be in Ohio, we'll be in Switzerland, we'll be, you know, so I need somebody to say, oh, wait a minute, time out. You're acting a little, you know. So I need that from people. I need leadership from that, and from, you know, you met my wife Kristen. Right, I need her. Like, hey, you got to get me squared away on this, right? I want to lead you. You lead me. You know, we're gonna work within our parameters on this, and the parameters are the things for me that are, you know, what I will not compromise on.
Right.
You know, like the integrity side of it for us, like in the business, and the gratitude, right? That pulls back in personally, because there are certain things that won't be no compromise. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, do you have some of those things that you see?
Yeah, I would say our parameters that our team, each individual agent, myself, what we all strive, like what we do is protect the client, your client. You have a fiduciary duty to them, and then yourself, always yourself, and then that's pretty much the basis of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of dual agency because then that is a conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm. Explain because there might be some.
Oh, yeah.
I know dual agency, but you know.
So dual agency, the easiest way that I have been able to explain this to non-real estate people is, imagine going to court and there's one attorney that represents both sides. It is not easy. I've been a dual agent, and the buyer really liked me, the seller really liked me, but then they started to get into arguments with each other, and one side was accusing me of favoring the other and vice versa, and it's just messy. And I like to have one client and have a fiduciary duty to best serve them. And like I said, the other pillar is don't do anything stupid. Don't get yourself in trouble. If you aren't sure about something, ask.
Right.
Don't tell someone, oh, I think it's this, and then have to come back later and be like, actually, I was wrong.
That's really cool that you said. It's really cool that you said about the dual agency, because, you know, for the real estate people, you know, if you're dual agent on a transaction of a sale, you get both sides of that commission.
Correct.
Right.
You're representing the buyer and the seller.
You're representing the buyer and the seller. And of course, with the new NAR ruling and things, we can get into, but we're not going to. But
that's a whole other podcast.
That's down the road, and I don't know if I'm qualified legally to talk about that. I probably am, but nonetheless, so you're when I started this business in 2011, one of the core parameters for me was I was never going to make money at the expense of someone else's well-being. If I look back on my life, there might have been some times where I could probably made a lot more money doing something.
Oh yeah,
but I wouldn't have been able to sleep at night doing that. So the fact that you are on here talking about how that you would not your team and we're not going to be dual agent on this, right? Even though that's the full commission, you're not splitting that with the buy side, right? You're not splitting that with the list side,
exactly.
So that's really cool that's where your mindset is on this, because not a lot of people.
Oh, some people dual agent, they're like, heck yeah, let's go 6%.
Right. Until something goes wrong, and then there's mediation, and who wants that?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Because you may not be guilty, but you may be guilty in the jury of your peers, which, we all know that confirmatory bias out there can be destructive.
Yeah, thankfully, PA doesn't do it's arbitration.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally sit down in front of somebody that's legally eligible to be there, and it's actually just here, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, come to terms, and I'm just here to make sure you don't kill each other.
Right.
Like, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So, and I don't even want to end up there.
Exactly. So that's really cool. I just want to make note of, that mindset.
Protect your client, protect yourself. That's pretty much how I operate.
So those are the uncompromising.
Oh yeah.
Parameters.
Yep.
Yeah. That's business. How about personal? There's some uncompromising. I mean, it can be one and the same, because again, like when you're in real estate, as a business owner, like every realtor owns their own business.
Yeah.
Right. I own Avenue to Close, so there's that aspect of it, right? But for you, I mean, mine, there is no differential between how I act at home or how I act in front of our team, or how I'm talking to you right now. Yeah,
I would say personally, I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm a Capricorn.
I don't know what that means.
So, do you not really?
I don't. I really don't.
So, if you believe in astrology,
when people ask me like what my sign is,
yeah,
and this is funny because it's like I don't follow that. I'm not saying I just don't.
Yeah,
I never had the interest, but it's like, well, what are you? I'm like, I don't know. I was born like August, and they're like,
yeah.
Oh, you're a Virgo, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a Virgo. Oh, I can see that. Like, what is? So I'm like, well, wait a minute. What do you mean? What's wrong with being a Virgo? I have no idea what being.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily bad. Each sign has their own things. I don't necessarily follow all of it. I just know that I'm a Capricorn, and if you believe in it or you don't, based off of the Capricorn definition, I am it to a T.
Well, yeah, I didn't say I didn't believe it. I'm just
I'm like, there's people out there that are absolutely like, oh, that's total BS.
Oh, sure.
But no, at home, I operate. My husband tells me a lot that not everything is a business deal. Because I'm very much like, what are the terms? Where are we going to dinner? We need to figure this out now. Right. What time are we going?
Right.
I'm a planner. But I like I have flexibility. I try to be more flexible at home with things, but my pillars are family first and everything. I grew up in Appalachia. Appalachia is a place that you typically don't ever leave.
Right.
Like, I grew up on a compound, essentially. Like, I walk out my front door, my aunt's here, my grandma's here, my great-grandmother's over there. And then you don't leave.
Right.
I was the first in my family to leave the state, my hometown, let alone the state.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I don't think about them still. Like, my family is everything to me. And Sean, my husband, and even the in-laws. Like, I'm a family first. Don't mess with them.
Yeah.
How to catch myself.
That's all right. That's all right. It's inferred.
Yeah. And that's my one non-negotiable. Like, family first for everything.
Yeah. So that takes you into that trickles right into your business then.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't mess with my team.
Right. But it also comes back and protects the family at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're not, you know, if you're not on your game or you're the best of yourself, that family life is going to be, you know, it's not going to be so happy for everybody involved.
Yeah, which it wasn't. Whenever I first started, my husband was probably ready to murder me. Because real estate, like you're grinding, and like nothing happens.
Yeah.
I started in January 25. I didn't close my first deal till April. I
Right.
had zero income.
Yeah.
And then after that, it just kind of all one thing after another. But yeah, successful at home, or if you're successful at home, it makes your personal life a lot easier. That's for sure.
Right. Right. It does. It does. Well, I think there might be one more thing here. There might not be. So
I'm typically not an open book or talk, so now's your
this
chance.
is amazing, as a matter of fact.
I
mean, he's not.
I don't share anything with anybody typically.
I know. Well, now you're sharing it.
Yeah.
Well, so there's going to be at least, I know there's going to be at least two people watching this, right? My mom and your mom. Okay.
My mom, I was on the phone with her on the way here.
So moms, check, this is us right here. So don't worry about that. Right. So have a conversation with, like, what would you tell 18-year-old Gage right now?
Are you sure this isn't therapy?
It's not therapy.
I'm kidding.
But, well, because you, I mean, listen, you went through a lot. Like I'll tell, I mean, if you want me to go first, I'll go first.
No,
I mean, I'll tell my 18-year-old self, just chill out, man. Like everything's going to be fine. Like that crap you're worrying about right now, you know, it doesn't, in the game of life, it's not going to matter. I'm not even, I would have that conversation with my 38-year-old self.
Yeah.
I might even have that conversation with my 47-year-old self.
I mean, you could probably have that conversation with yourself. Not you, but broad spectrum.
One could
have that conversation with himself every year, with the year before themselves.
Right.
I would say to my 18-year-old self, because I was a very different person, and that was, what am I? That was 9 years ago. Don't worry about what other people think. I was so involved with what other people thought about me or my family, or am I good enough, or just in general. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the big thing. Right? I mean, because, you know, what you see is usually not what you get.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, part of doing this and the built between the lines and the perspective side of that, right, for me, and the purpose, it all aligns back together for me. Somebody's coming at you, somebody's making your day not so great, right? Maybe we get a phone call, right? Maybe it's the 19th hour of the real estate closing. You know, the professionals on the other end of the line are yelling and screaming, and right, the lender's freaking out. There's a metaphysical response that you have as another human, right? It's like, I want to fire back.
Yeah, don't let your emotions get in the middle of it.
Right. Because if you really break it down, and even this goes back to your 18-year-old self, it's rarely ever about you. Right?
Spot on.
So if you're like, don't worry about what other people think. If you walk into a room and you think, well, this is judging, that person's judging, this is right, or they're treating you in such a way, you have to go, you know what? I don't think this is not about me. And now you're shifting your perspective and to be able to go, I can handle this now.
Yeah, I would say that was the hardest thing for me to learn, which it can get you in trouble sometimes too. But do not live your life for other people's opinions. Like,
yeah.
You wake up every day for you and your family, and like, who cares what people think of you on social media or everything else? Like, that was hard for me to get over, because I think a lot of it when I was 18, like, lost the family farm, and then turns out, hey, I'm coming out as gay, and then that's just like, well, everybody probably freaking hates me at that point. And then I would say it finally clicked in corporate world full circle, is I was letting my emotion get between me and my job with coworkers that made me mad, and I would write emails that were too emotional. And I remember the day very clearly. My boss sat me down, who I love, like, she's a mentor to me. I love her very much. Shout out to Denise. She told me, she's like, you have so much potential, but you are holding yourself back because you worry too much about what people think.
Yeah.
And that was the day it clicked.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately I quit that job about 6 months later.
Well, removed yourself from it.
Yeah. But I
awesome.
still am in contact with Denise, and
Yeah.
she was probably one of the best bosses. I didn't have very many.
Right.
Because I'm 27, but I would say her and my market manager that I got promoted to be equal to, her and Jackie, best bosses I ever had. They pretty much put a mirror in front of me and were like, this is what you could be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it? That's awesome when you have people believing in you.
Yeah.
It's awesome when you have that.
And you got to be able to take constructive criticism.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you don't and you get defensive, you're, again, just holding yourself back.
Yeah. Well, that's, again, we go back to ego on that, right?
Check it at the door.
You got to check it at the door.
Yep.
Yeah. You have any questions for me?
No, I mean, I didn't prepare questions for you. I was thinking all day, trying to anticipate what's Ben gonna ask me. What are we gonna talk about? Because I told you I didn't want any idea.
Well, I know you being analytical. Like, it was like, I'm like, you know what? Let's just let it fly.
Yeah, and that was great.
Yeah. Well, you'll come back, right?
If you have me, I was thinking about it when we were doing this. Like, I would totally come back.
That's awesome.
Like this.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'd love that, because then we can see what the progression is.
Yeah, it's like,
right. I'm not saying just for you, for me too.
No, yeah.
Right.
What is it? Billie Eilish every year did an interview with Vogue, I think, magazine.
Oh, really?
From whenever she was like 14 or 15, and they interviewed her every year to see how she's changed business-wise, personally, physically. So that could be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that.
Too bad you didn't know me 10 years ago.
No.
That would have been an interesting interview.
I couldn't have done this 10 years ago. This wouldn't go anywhere, because I would have burned it down. I like to break things. I did.
Oh,
I like to build it and then rebuild it. No, there's no more breaking things. There's just continue to be the best version. Right?
Try to do better today than you did yesterday.
Absolutely. That's it. Short.
Yep.
Short little 168-hour goals.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming and doing this.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you letting everybody else, hear what it is.
This was a first for me, for sure.
To do things between the lines where no one's watching, right? And to understand that the hardest battles we fight are within. And that's it.
Definitely.
Thank you, Gage.
Thank you.
See y'all later.